Hi all, welcome to my channel Vibha Codes. So here before this we have seen two videos which is regarding the what is medical coding, what are all its types, and how you can get into the field which you really wanted. Okay, these are the details we have seen in our past videos. Also, I have given a deep description on what are the different types of coding, how you should be choosing your career on what basis, so that what you should do to be best in the coding field. Those details I have given you in the past videos. If you really wanted to go and see and get benefited out of it, please go and watch my past videos. Okay, so now let's jump into the present concept, that is the POA concept. By the way, POA concept is nothing but present on admission. This is something which is very important concept in IP coding. Okay, why is it so? Why is it that much important? Means it is the thing, it is one of the key thing which determines the PDX of the chart. PDX is nothing but the principal diagnosis of the chart. Okay, why is the principal diagnosis so important in a chart? It is because based on the principal diagnosis, not only principal diagnosis, but based on the principal diagnosis, the payment will be provided by the insurance company to the provider or the hospital. Okay, so this is the reason this PDX is very important. So PDX is important because of the payment. So this PDX is determined by one such important factor, that is the POA. Okay. That is why POA plays a very important role in determining the PDX of the chart. Okay. So now to what we are going to apply this POA concept, it is nothing but, see, it applies to the diagnosis or the disease condition. So I have already told in my past videos that when it comes to inpatient coding, you should code the inpatient procedures and also the inpatient diagnosis, means disease condition. For example, if the patient is having appendicitis, okay, for that patient, if we are doing laparoscopic appendectomy, here appendicitis is the diagnosis for the patient and appendectomy is the procedure, that is the inpatient procedure we are going to perform for that particular patient. Okay, so now in this, for this appendicitis, okay, for this appendicitis I am going to apply the POA concept. I hope you understand, because we are not going to apply the POA concept for the procedures, we are going to apply the POA concept for the disease condition only. Okay, so now, as I already told, POA means it is a concept used to find whether the disease condition of a patient is present during the admission or not. What is during the admission? Means by the time of admission. Okay, by the time while the patient is coming to the hospital, by that time itself the patient should have a condition, whether he have the condition during the admission or after the admission. Okay, after getting admitted to the hospital, if he is developing a condition, this will determine the POA, which will affect the DPDX, which in turn will affect the payment. Okay, so now this present on admission is basically classified into five types, that is Y indicator. Okay, these are all indicator. Why? Because they indicate whether the condition is present during the admission or after the admission or whatever it is. So they are the indicators. We call it as C, Y indicator, N indicator, U, W and E. Okay, so now let me explain you in each of this in detail so that you'll have a clear understanding. First one is that why. Okay, it is yes. Present on admission, yes. If it is present on admission, no. Was it present on admission? Cannot be determined. Was it present on admission? Clinically undetermined. So what was it present on admission? It is an extempt category. Okay, why am I asking the same question for each of those things? Because apart, like among these five only, we are going to decide whether they belong to Y, N, U, W, and E. Okay, so now Let me clearly explain you this with an example so that you can understand this concept easily. So in this, okay, we are not going to use this undetermined you. Okay, as a medical coder we should not use this you in the chart. I'll tell you, like once if I explain this concept you will get to know why we are not using this you here. Okay, so for that let us take a very famous inpatient condition, also the life threatening condition, that is the sepsis. Okay, sepsis is a systemic infection. That word should be very well known. Sepsis is a systemic infection. Systemic means overall body, means in the blood. The patient who has infection in blood, those patients are called sepsis patient. Okay, for example, if the patient has bacteria in the patient's blood and this bacteria is going to emit some toxins which is going to in turn affect the patient's all the organ and make it a failure, then the condition will get very worse. So this is what we call it as sepsis. Okay, so it is a systemic condition and it is an acute life threatening condition. Okay, it is an, as I already told you, it is an infection in blood. Okay, so for this, what we'll do basically, if we think logically, we will be providing with antibiotics, because for all the infections, what we will do, we will provide the antibiotics during admission, inpatient admission. Mostly we'll be using IV, intravenous, through venous mode, vein mode. We'll be giving the antibiotics. Okay, so this is in short, you wanted to know what is sepsis. Okay, so this you need to remember. Now another one important thing which you wanted to know is that clinical indicator for sepsis. Guys, this concept is very important. I'll tell you why. See, this clinical indicator for a condition, it is not only for sepsis. Clinical indicator is there for each and every condition. If the patient has anemia, if the patient is going to have congestive heart failure, if the patient is having AKA, for all these conditions, all conditions have a clinical indicator. What does this clinical indicator means? Clinically, these symptoms and signs or the lab values is going to indicate that this particular condition is there for the patient. That is what we call it as clinical indicator. For example, if the patient is coming with fever, tachypnea, tachycardia, increased WBC, hypotension or organ failure or metabolic acidosis, positive blood culture. It is not necessary that all these should be present mandatory. Out of this, any three or four. So, okay, minimally they should be at least 3 to 4 symptoms. If they are going to match the sepsis criteria, then we should come to a realization that this patient has the probability of getting sepsis. Okay, so in the initially the provider, for example, for your understanding I'm telling, so if the provider is stating a patient has come to the clinic, sorry, for the inpatient admission. Okay, so this patient is having a very high fever. Also during the examination we found this patient has tachypnea, tachycardia. Also in the lab values the patient's WBC was very much elevated, which was greater than 12,000. And also this patient has hypotension, who was treated with vasopressor in the ED. Okay, like these kind of evidences were given. So you should come to a conclusion, okay, this patient may have a probability of sepsis in the upcoming encounters. You should just come to a, you can't just go on like, seeing these indicators, you can't directly go and say, oh, this patient is having sepsis. You can have an idea in the mind, okay, this patient may have a sepsis, but end of the day provider should say sepsis. If provider is not stating, we should raise a query that these indicators are present. Does this patient have sepsis? Like kind of non-leading query we need to give. Okay, let me tell you this query and all in the near future. So now in short what I wanted to tell you is sepsis is a condition which has all these clinical indicators. It is not mandatory to have all. Minimally 2 to 3 symptoms is more than enough. Okay, so now we understood what is sepsis, what are all its clinical indicators. So now let's come into this scenario. So there are 4 types of scenarios which I wanted to explain you. First thing, See, the patient is getting admitted to the hospital for pneumonia. Pneumonia is a localized infection. Okay, I already told you sepsis is a systemic infection. What is the difference between localized and a systemic infection? Simple. If it is going to affect a particular organ, then it is localized infection. If it is going to affect the overall body system, overall body, then it is systemic infection. See, when you take pneumonia, it is going to affect our lungs, right? Respiratory system, right? So it is going to affect only an organ system. So that is why pneumonia is called as localized infection. As I already told you, sepsis is something which is a systemic, from like where all the blood is present, there all the infection will be there. Okay, so that is called a systemic. So what in the scenario one, this patient is getting admitted to the hospital for pneumonia. Okay, also, this patient has symptoms such as fever, tachypnea, tachycardia, increased WBC and hypotension. Okay, while coming, he has pneumonia. Also, these symptoms. Now, what the thing is, all these indicators are present on admission itself. Okay, so if the provider is going to say this patient has sepsis, we can consider POA as S. Why? Because the while coming the patient, while getting admitted to the hospital itself, this particular patient has symptoms such as fever, tachycardia, tachypnea, increased WBC, and hypotension. I already told you these are all the clinical indicators for sepsis. So, when a condition is present or the clinical indicators related to that condition is present while getting admitted to the hospital itself, then the POA for one such condition is yes. Okay, that is why we can consider the present on admission status for sepsis is yes, because the clinical indicator for the sepsis is present while the patient has arrived. During the arrival itself, the patient has the symptoms. So even after 3 days, if you are going to say this patient is having sepsis, okay, see, it is not necessary in inpatient the day he has symptoms we need to same day we need to find the sepsis. No, it's not like that. The patient has symptoms. Okay, so now they'll take the blood culture, they will give to the lab, and the lab will be keep on pending, and after 3 days if they are going to test the blood culture and going to say yes, this patient has sepsis, it is not that okay, the symptoms are present only during admission, but the provider has come to a conclusion that the patient has sepsis only after 3 days, so I'm going to give. No, it is not like that. See, you should think logically. While coming itself, the patient has symptoms, they have taken the blood culture, there was a delay in getting the result for blood culture, but that doesn't mean that condition developed after 3 days. Okay, the condition was already there, they found it only after 3 days. Okay, so that is why, with the evidence of the indicators present during the admission itself, at the time of admission itself, we are going with the POA as S. Okay, this is the first scenario when you should give a condition as yes. Second condition, the same condition with a different scenario. The same is okay. Let us take another patient. The patient is getting admitted to the hospital for same pneumonia and has symptoms such as fever and increased WBC. Guys, I wanted to tell you one more thing. Whenever it is not only for sepsis, fever and increased WBC will be there. Okay, whatever infection we have in our body. Okay, infection means due to the microorganisms. If we are getting a disease, even if it is of fever, okay, even if it is of cough, sneezing, whatever, pneumonia and cellulitis, all these are infection related conditions, right? For these infection related conditions, if we are going to have in our body, initially the body's response will be the body temperature will rise. It is not only for sepsis, pneumonia is also an infection, sepsis is also an infection. Since they both come under infection category, what are all the infections present, our body will initially respond with the increase in temperature. Next one, WBC. Okay, in order to fight against that infection, fight against that microorganisms, whatever the microorganisms, our body will produce enormous number of WBC. That is why whatever, when we have fever, okay, when we have some rhinovirus kind of infection, okay, because of which we used to get the cough, all these things, okay, this running nose, all these things, the main cause of these fever, cough, sneezing and all, rhinovirus will be there. Okay, so this rhinovirus, no, if you are going to take a lab test and see, our WBC will be elevated. Why? In our body, WBC is the defense mechanism, right? So when this rhinovirus enters into our body, immediately our body will start producing the enormous number of WBC as a defense mechanism. So that is the reason when an infected patient, infected with the microbes or infected with the disease causing organisms, obviously in those patients WBC will be elevated. Okay, so why I am telling this much deep is, see, while coming itself, this patient has pneumonia, which is an infection, right? Also, this patient has symptoms such as fever and increased WBC. Okay, not any other indicators. So you should not come to a conclusion based on only these two indicators, which is common for all the infections, and come to a conclusion this patient might have sepsis. No, actually, this fever and increased WBC could also be a symptom for pneumonia, because pneumonia is also an infection, right? So now let's see the next statement. And after 2 days, the patient develops what he's developing: tachypnea, tachycardia, hypotension, and positive blood culture. He's clearly stating here, after 2 days only he is starts developing the symptoms such as tachypnea, tachycardia, hypotension, and positive blood culture. So what they are telling is, initially the patient has pneumonia and fever, increased WBC, and after 2 days this patient has tachypnea, tachycardia, hypotension, positive blood culture. In this case, what you need to know, no, all these indicators what are getting developed after getting admitted to the hospital. Okay, and also the provider is stating the patient has sepsis. In this case, you should give the POA to the sepsis as no. Means the sepsis gets developed after getting admitted to the hospital. Why? Because the provider clearly states after 2 days only, after 2 days of admission only, this patient develops these sepsis related symptom. Okay, then you are asking, okay, fever and increased WBC is also sepsis related symptoms. No, then why can't you consider the POA as S? It's because based on only these two indicator, which is common for all the infection, even these two indicators will go for pneumonia also. So with only with the help of these two indicators, we can't come to a conclusion that this patient has sepsis while coming to the hospital itself. No, he has clearly stated that after 2 days he has developed a clinical indicators which is very much relevant to the sepsis. That is why I am giving here. Also see, the positive blood culture was also positive only after 2 days, and tachypnea, these are all sepsis specific indicators. Okay, whereas fever and increased WBC are common indicators which is common for pneumonia also and sepsis also. That is why I am giving POA in this scenario as no. Okay, you should understand the difference. Okay, next one, third scenario. This is like, see, I'll be reading the question, listen carefully. So patient is getting admitted to the hospital for pneumonia. Okay, also patient has symptoms such as fever, tachypnea, tachycardia. So, also hypotension, lactic acidosis, all the symptoms which are very much relevant to the sepsis is also present during admission. Also, pneumonia is also present during admission. So, in seeing the first line, we'll come to a very good conclusion that, okay, while coming to the hospital itself, this patient has pneumonia also. If the provider is going to say sepsis, let me give POA as S, because the indicators for the sepsis is present at the time of admission itself. Okay, but when you read the second line, the entire scenario will change. See, but the provider stated patient developed a sepsis only on the third day of admission. Okay, see, he is stating, provider is stating, this patient developed sepsis only on the third day of admission. See, it is a contro, right? Initially, while coming to the hospital itself, all the clinical indicators related to the sepsis is clearly present, right? But the provider is stating only on the third day of admission, this patient has developed the sepsis. So this is actually a contro, because while coming itself, symptoms are clearly mentioned, whereas the provider is stating it is only developed on the third day. So you yourself, we ourselves can never drive into a conclusion. Okay, now the provider has stated, he has clearly stated only after the third day. Now let me go with POA as no, or else no. While coming itself, this patient has the clinical indicators. Let me, even the provider is going to say the patient developed sepsis only on the third day, I am going to give the POA as yes just because the indicators are present during admission. No, it is not a, like, we can't debate between ourselves. It is totally purely depends on the provider. If you have any such like this or that kind of doubts, no, we need to raise query to the provider. We ourselves cannot drive into a conclusion. Okay, so what we should do is we should raise a query to the patient. Okay, and here is the place where the I told you, no, initially the POA indicator u, which is not used in charts, I have told you, right? Okay, why is that we are not using? I'll tell you here. Because see, when you are confused within yourself, being a coder, when you are going to get confused within yourself whether should I go with the POA yes or no, that state is what we call it as POA indicator is U. Means the medical coder is into a confusion. He cannot come to a drive at a conclusion that whether the POA is yes or no. That is undetermined by the coder. When the POA is U, means the meaning is the sepsis is undetermined by the coder. Okay, so in coding, there is no power for the coder to come to a conclusion on anything. It is purely dependent on the provider. We are going to just code the conditions and the POAs which the provider has already mentioned. If we are going to get confused, you are going to raise a query to the provider, not by deciding. The deciding authority is not us. So that is why they are not using this U. This U stands for provider is undetermined about the POA status. So in that cases, if you are going to you are going to be the deciding authority here whether the POA is yes or no, which is not at all a good thing. Okay, so that is why U is the thing which is going to be an undeterminable factor by the coder. We are not using it. Instead, what we should do, we need to raise a query to the physician as what is the POA for the sepsis. Okay, like you should give all the clinical indicators, like what should you get, like in what way you should raise a query, while coming itself this patient has all the symptoms such as fever, tachypnea, tachycardia, hypotension, lactic acidosis, all the clinical indicators related to the sepsis. But you have mentioned that the sepsis was developed only on the third day, so can you please give me a clearance on the POA of sepsis, like that you need to raise a query. Okay, there is a format for raising query which I'll be discussing in the upcoming session. So now here this is the way we need to raise a query to the provider. Okay, in a very polite way we need to ask the provider. Okay, so he should only say, if he says yes, go with yes. Okay, whatever the chart contour is, his statement is final, very final. Okay, so if he is going to say yes, the sepsis was present during admission, go with yes. He says no, no, it was not present during admission. Okay, no. He, in there are certain scenarios where he himself can't come to a conclusion. Okay, he himself can't arrive at a conclusion, and he will be saying unable to determine. If the provider is going to say no, I can't come to a conclusion whether it was present during yes or no, then by that time we should give W. Okay, which is clinically undetermined. When it is simply undetermined, it is done by the coder, which should not be done. That is the U indicated, which we are not going to use. Whereas after raising query to the provider, even then also he can also not determine the POA. By that time we are going to give the W as the indicator, which is clinically undetermined, not simply undetermined. It is clinically. What is clinically undetermined? He clinically analyzes the chart and tells us a conclusion that he himself cannot clinically arrive at a conclusion, so that we can accept. So this is what I'm telling. Most probably for all the conditions, we'll go with either yes or no. Or if we have a conclusion, like confusion, raise a query to the provider. He will reply with yes or no or W. Okay, we ourselves can't use U, or we ourselves can't use W. W belongs to the provider's undeterminable. U belongs to medical coder's undeterminable, which is not used in the chart. Okay, so this is the scenario of POA. Okay, what is the fourth scenario? Extempt. Extempt means it is denoted by the POA indicator E. What is that? As a synonym for a exempt in we see in the English language is that it is like exempt means exceptional from all the categories, right? That is what we call it as exempt, means it does not belong to any of these categories. It is a separate, like separate division, that we call it as exempt. The same thing goes for here also. See, there are certain conditions in the chart which can't be put into yes or put into no POA or put into W. Okay, we can't arrive at a conclusion, proper conclusion, whether it is yes or no. It's not we can't arrive. There is, it's like they are not included in such things. Yes or no category, they are not included. They are exempt category. Such codes, like most probably they'll be Z series codes. Okay, mostly Z series codes. If the patient is having any history, okay, past history, there are codes for the past history also. For such codes, what we need to do, no, even in 3M, 3M is an application where you are going to code the all the conditions of the inpatient. Okay, while coding itself, there are certain scenarios where itself will give the E indicator, itself will come the E indicator, whereas in certain things we need to add the E. It depends on the what kind of 3M we are going to use. Okay, so certain coding things, if you're going to put in Z series code, no, it itself will come to E, where there you can't change yes or no or what a W, you can't change anything. It itself will be Z. Whereas in the other, some other type of 3M, no, you should go and correctly give E as the POA. You should not go and give Y and W, which is wrong actually. Okay, not only for the Z series, for the sequel A. Sequel A means late effect code, certain. For example, the best example is the patient is having CVA. The CVA patient, no, after the CVA has got cured, after an year or so, this patient is developing certain right-sided weakness, such as like what we call it as hemiplegia. Okay, he is developing, and the provider is stating this hemiplegia is due to the patient's past CVA. That is what we call it as sequel A. Okay, so this code actually goes for I-69 series. When you are going to give this I-69 series in the 3M, no, what it will you do? It will actually, it itself will give an indicator, POA indicator as E, that is a exempt category. Okay, because it is a CLA code. We can't go and give the CLA code as YNW. Okay, it itself will go and sit into the exempt category. Then certain congenital conditions, not all, the Q series. Okay, mostly the Q series. When you are going to give any of the Q series, congenital condition is nothing but the conditions which are present by birth itself. Okay, it will most probably go into the Q series. Those Q series codes will have an exempt category POA codes. Okay, this exempt also known as unreported or not used. Okay, it's another name, because unreported means like we are not going to report it, okay, as POS or no or whatever it is. It is just, it itself will put into a separate category of exempt. Exempt means exceptional, it don't belong to anything, we are separate. It is indicating that. Okay, next one, as I already given the example, right? Sequelae of CVA code, history code. These are all the main codes which come into the exempt category. Okay. So these are the four types of POA which we need to be keep in mind while coding for a IP chart. POA is, once again I'm telling you, POA is going to affect the PDX of the chart, which is the principal diagnosis, and this principal diagnosis also not only the principal diagnosis, CCMCC, see, payment to the provider or hospital from the insurance company is mainly based on three things. Okay, three things, that is the PDX of the chart, CC of the chart, MCC of the chart. I'll tell you each of these things what all it is in a separate video. So now you just know what is PDX, CC, MCC. Based on these three factors only, we will arrive at a DRG. This DRG is nothing but a single value. On seeing that value only, they will determine the payment to the provider or the hospital. So if you are going to do any wrong in the POA, it will affect the PDX, CC and MCC. And this PDX, CC and MCC is in turn going to affect the payment. Okay. So see how important the POA concept is. Okay. That is why I have explained you with a scenario so that you can always keep in mind. Okay. So guys, This is all about the POA. Okay. So now, if you even want to know it better and have a session, you can join in my online course, which I'm taking as a Viba codes. Okay, for the it's an online academy for inpatient coding, especially for the inpatient coding, right from scratch to the advanced level. I'm taking the coding. It's me who is taking the classes. Okay, if you want any details regarding this session or time flexibility or whatever it is, you can contact me. The contact details are all provided in the below this video. Okay, so let us see what all the concepts which we are going to see in the near future, okay, in the upcoming videos, guys. Till that, please do subscribe, share my videos. Okay, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, thank you, guys. Happy coding. Thank you.